All right, it looks like I am online. I can see two people here. Please let me know how is the video and audio. Shaolin DMV, yes, you are all good. Thank you very much. Ricardo Zaveras, hello, video and audio, perfect. Thank you very much, Ricardo. I see you here for the first time. Thank you very much for coming. I hope that will bring some good and useful information for you. How are you guys? How was the week? Did you have any rides? And Tenere Traveler. Hello, Richard. How are you, man? Ricardo Tavares, yes, first time here, but following you from some time. Thank you very much, Ricardo. Where are you from? Portugal. Nice country. All right. Interesting topic, guys, or at least it is interesting to me. Maybe some people, as I said, will find useful information on it. What is the difference between long and short trips? I'm gonna start in a minute. Just wait a few more minutes. Eventually, more people will come. Tenere Traveler, all good. Clocking miles up. Now, all sweet. Perfect. So you have the chance to ride the Himalayan. We had an excellent week here, but now the week ahead is going to be rain almost every single day. But that's fine. I still have a lot of things to do here on the computer. So it's all right. I can survive one more week. After that, the weather will be nice, and I'll have more than enough time to ride. Excellent, excellent. Any questions from you guys before I start? Because after I start, I will prefer not to answer the questions because it will interrupt my speech. So if you have any questions, now is the moment, or later when I finished my talk here on the topic that I already listed. I changed the time, as you already know, 1 hour ahead, 9 o'clock, because now we have a summer time here in Bulgaria. I guess it's the same in Europe. So now for the summer, the streams are going to be in 9 o'clock East European time. It is around 8 o'clock in Western Europe and Portugal as well. In UK, it's going to be 7 o'clock for Richard. So I hope that this will be a better time for you guys to come and discuss some important topics, because the streams are not for me. They are for many people that will watch them after that. And the channel, live stream channel, got 991 followers already and subscribers. I need another 9 to become 1,000, and then the channel will be monetized. Will be a huge milestone for me, guys, with this simple format, just talking with you. It looks like so many people, at least 1,000 people, already found a useful information on this channel, and that's good. Okay, so Portugal also 2 hours behind. Okay, I forgot that. It was 3 years ago when I was in Portugal. Okay. All right, guys. 5 people. Let's wait 5 or 10 minutes more, and we're gonna start with all of this. As I said, I'm glad that already 1,000 people found this channel useful, and I hope that it will be even more for the future. And as I said, every time the information that we share here, me and all of you guys, could be very beneficial for someone who watched the stream after that, because after the stream finish, I'll convert it to a normal video and upload it again on the channel, so everyone who missed the stream could watch it on the normal video after that. Tenere Traveler, views on lowering bikes if you're short like me. Uh, hmm, it is possible, Richard. As you know, you can lower it from a triple clamp and also from the linkage on the rear side, but not that much. 2 centimeters will be something that it's affordable, but more than 2 centimeters, if you have to do it, it is better to find the right motorcycle for you, because when you lower it too much, you actually changing the whole ergonomics of the motorcycle and the whole idea of the motorcycle. But up to 2 centimeters is absolutely fine to lower it from the triple clamp and from the linkage behind at the same time, not the front and rear with the different levels. And also you can try to lower it by having some kind of custom seats that might be a little bit more curvy, so will allow you to have another maybe a centimeter or more. Tenere Traveler, I lowered my 660 and that was okay, but stance needed changing too. I agree with 2 centimeters. Yes, the stance need to be changed as well, because if you lower it too much, the stance is not going to work anymore. It needs to be cut. Yeah, this is the situation. And also with the seat, if you modify the seat, make it a little bit more curvy, you'll have more space. Also, some seats are very wide, but if you lower it a little bit, it will give you more room leg and you'll be able to stand better. And also every time ride your motorcycle with boots. Boots usually have got a not exactly high heels, but the soles are a little bit wider, so they will give you an additional probably a centimeter or even more. And this is my advice. Tenere Traveler, easier to put a lift in my boots and it works well. Yeah, this is also a solution to have some kind of maybe thicker soles that will help you to have another centimeter or something like that. But unfortunately, not so many options to short people. I think the Himalaya should be perfectly fine for you, Richard, compared to the Tenere that you had before. Tenere is with 92 centimeters or something like that, the seat height. So Himalayan should be much better for you, much more comfortable to have a flat feet and ride it in more comfort. All right, it looks like not many people will come tonight. That's why I will start right now. So what is the difference between long and short trips? One more from Tenere Traveler. It is standard SWAT fine 82 centimeters. Okay, excellent, excellent. I'm glad that the Himalayan is better for you. Maybe better choice, and who knows, maybe even better quality and better trips. I wish you all the best with this model, and I still look forward to your long-term opinion and reviews on this motorcycle. So what is the difference between long and short trips? All of this, guys, is my opinion based on my experience, and I might be wrong. So feel absolutely free to not agree with everything that I'm saying, or if you have your opinion on this topic, yeah, absolutely, I would like to hear it here. So I never pretend that I know everything, but from my experience, everything that I'm gonna list here, it's again based on my experience, so I might be wrong. So excuse me if you find some information not so relevant or maybe not the one that you're looking for. The first thing that I would like to say is not what is the difference between long and short trips. I'm gonna say you first what is the same. So there is a big difference between long and short trips, but let's first define what is short and what is long trip. For everyone is different, of course, but I will conclude, or I will say that a short trip is something up to 1 week, and everything above 1 week is going to be long trip. If it's more than a month, then it's going to be really long trip. If it's more than 6 months, this is extremely long trip, and this trip requires completely different preparation and everything like that. My longest trip that I ever done is 3 months. I never done more than 3 months. This is what works for me. I don't think that I will like to travel all the time like some people do it. I don't want to live like a homeless person until the rest of my life. So trips 2 3 months are perfectly fine for me once per year, and then I'm happy to enjoy some comfort here in my home with my family and my friends around. But everyone is different. That's why My opinion is just my opinion. So short trips up to 1 week and long trips 1 week and more. Let's say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or whatever. And you know what I mean. So as I said, the first thing that I'm gonna tell you, what is the same between short and long trips. Luggage is the same, always the same. So for me, it doesn't matter will I travel 3 days or 3 months, the luggage will be exactly the same. The same stuff I will carry always with me. There'll be my riding gear, which is obvious, uh, clothes, walking clothes, or clothes to walk around when I'm not riding, shoes to walk around when I'm not riding, a few t-shirts, underwear, some toiletries, toothbrush, and stuff like that. Maybe some light sweatshirt like this or similar. And this is basically the same stuff. So if I go to ride for 3 days, I will need the same stuff. If I go to ride for 3 months, it's exactly the same as well, with one small difference. Depends on that where the trip will be. I might have the tent with me. So, for example, 2 3 years ago, when I was traveling around Europe and to Portugal, even Ricardo, I was having my tent with me. And because Europe, in many places around Europe, the prices of the hotels are not really affordable to me, I slept in the tent probably 14 or 15 times for this trip. For 1.5 months, I spent like 2 weeks in the tent. But on my trip to Russia, I also carried carried the tent with me, but I never used it. It was only as an emergency situation. And on my trip to South America, I did not even have a tent with me. So that's why I said for 3 days or 3 months, the luggage is always the same, except the tent. The tent may exist in 3 days trip and or might not. It's the same for 3 months or might exist or not. The same situation. Riding gear is exactly the same. It doesn't matter how long is the trip. As mean helmet, jacket, pants, boots, gloves, the same story. In also my hydration pack, like small backpack with the hydration pack. Riding gear, it's always the same. It doesn't matter how long will be the trip. 3 days or 3 months, exactly the same gear. I even use the same gear when I ride around the town here or very short trips or going here and there, except the hydration pack. When I'm riding here up to the town or around the town, I don't have the hydration pack with me because these are very short trips, like 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and the water is not a problem. Rodrigo Musa here in Curitiba, 3 o'clock and 13 minutes. Slava Pavlin. Thank you very much for sharing this, Rodrigo. Yeah, it's a different part of the world. I hope you're well. So, riding gear, as I said, guys, is the same. Riding style is about the same. I don't change my riding style because I will ride 3 days or I will ride 3 months. Riding style is riding style. I always ride with the same style, except I am on some kind of hurry. I forgot something or I really need to get on to one place very fast. This was the only situation where I may change my riding style and twist a little bit harder just to get to the place on time, but usually it's the same. uh, Basically, I don't need any preparation for short trips. Rodrigo Musak, Pavlin, what is your opinion about CF Moto 450? Rodrigo, just wait a few minutes. I just started here the stream with the topic, what is the difference between long and short trips? Let me finish with all of this. And after I finish, I'm going to give you enough time and reply to all of your questions, include yours about CF Moto 450. I hope that you're okay with this. No worries, no worries. Okay, so about the motorcycle for short trips, I don't need any preparations because the bike is always ready. I will never put it in the garage if the bike is not ready. If I have some technical problem or if the oil is not changed or the tires are not checked or the antifreeze is not on the level, every time when I ride, I check all of these things. And when I get back home, of course, I do exactly the same. Check the antifreeze, the oil, put some pressure in the tires, lube the chain, so the bike is ready to go at any time and does not need any serious preparation for going to the town or these short trips, or even for 2-3 days, even 1 week trip. I don't need to prepare anything because the bike is always ready. So let me tell you now what is the difference on long trips. I'll say that riding or kilometers are the last thing that you have to worry about. Many people think that on a long trip you have to be ready to ride many riding hours and stuff like that. Yeah, it is true. You have to be ready to ride for many hours, but this is the last thing that you have to worry about, because everyone who ever ridden motorcycle for at least 2, 3, 5, or 6 months will be uh, will be able to ride on the long trips. Maybe not so many kilometers, maybe not so fast, or maybe not on all terrain, but he will be ready to ride, because riding is the last thing that you have to worry on the long trips. There are so many things before that that are much more important. People usually think that riding is the main problem, and they worry how they're gonna survive, or how they're gonna handle so many kilometers every day. But this is not a problem. This is not the problem that you have to worry about. There are so many different skills that are way more important, like communication skills, improvisation, logical thinking, some mechanical skills, languages if you know some. And so, what is the difference? I will split the differences on the long trips. I will split it on two different categories: before the trip and after the trip. I already told you what I need on the short trips before the trip. Basically nothing, just to get the motorcycle and go. But on the long trips is different story, because uh, you're not gonna be away for a day or two. You have to plan a little bit more. So what I do on the long trips before the trip. First, what is the difference before the trip? Planning. Planning, it's a big difference. When I plan to ride for 2 days, let's say from here to Istanbul, I don't need to plan anything. First of all, it's only 500 kilometers. I'm telling you Istanbul because I was in Istanbul last week, and this is the fresh example that I can tell you. It took me 3 days just to go there, finish the job that I planned, and come back. Travel time is one day one direction, one day the other direction, and one day I spent in Istanbul. So I, for example, Istanbul, I know that it's 500 kilometers. I know that I can go there for one day. I know the road very well. I've been there many times. I don't need to plan anything. I know where I'm going to spend the night because I already contacted in advance with a friend of mine. So I don't need to prepare anything. I don't need any preparation. As I already told you, the motorcycle also does not need any preparation because it's ready to go. What I have to do, just to put my luggage, always the same, as you already know. My luggage is always the same. The same saddlebag, the same tank bag, the same camera gear, the same clothes in my saddlebag. So nothing different. That's why I don't need any preparation for short trips. But on the long trips, it's different story. I have to plan. I have to plan a lot. The more you plan, the better. And don't listen some clever experts that will tell you that you should go without plan, because if you plan, you're not going to have any adventure. This is a stupid statement, because first of all, adventure is a state of mind. It is not something which is, uh, it's not what you plan or where you plan to go. It's a state of mind. So it's different than anything else. So plan is a must on a long trip. You cannot really execute a long trip if you don't plan it in advance. That's why I said don't listen to people that will say go without any plans. How you can go without any plans to South America, for example? You cannot. Of course, you have to plan. You cannot just take your motorcycle and, oh, I'll go to South America, and suddenly after 3 days you reach Portugal and you realize that the continent is finished. You need a plan. It's impossible. It's just impossible. You can go without any plans if you plan just a, not if you plan, it's a plan again. If you decided to ride 2, 3 hours around your home or maybe your next town, then you can go without any plans. Just go like this and see whatever comes. But on the long trips, it's just impossible. You need time, you need money, all of this stuff need to be planned in advance. So planning is the first big difference between long and short trips. The more you plan, the better. This doesn't mean that you have to plan every step, every kilometer, every stop, every hotel, every meal. No, absolutely not. I never do that. But you should have a basic idea where you're going, how long the trip is going to be, what you're going to need on this trip, and where you can sleep, where you can fill petrol, and approximate places or locations or kilometers. You should know something, because you cannot just go like that expecting that after 200 kilometers you're going to have a place to sleep, just to realize that after 200 kilometers it's a big desert and there are no places to sleep. That's why you need some kind of planning in advance. What I usually do, it's a raw plan, just a raw idea where the road is going. I can calculate using Google Maps, I can calculate the mileage and everything, and I can have approximate places where I can spend the night eventually, if not the next one, or where I can fill the petrol with the tank with petrol, or something like that. Just a raw plan, but definitely a must. The next different things, it's that the next one that is very different with short trips, is the motorcycle preparation. What I basically do is try to predict the weak parts of any motorcycle, or the parts that might fail on the road. And if I have some doubts about, let's say, how long the front brake pads will last, I prefer to change them in advance. If they are in good condition, let's say 50% of their life, I will know that, and I will have another spare with me because I'm gonna need it on the road. So this is this is what motorcycle preparation is, to to check the motorcycle very carefully, all the details, all components, all different parts of the motorcycle, engine, suspension, fluids, everything, just to prepare everything in advance to be sure that it will work properly on the long trip. So to check, and just to give me a peace of mind that I don't need to worry about all of these things while I ride. So motorcycle preparation is definitely different on long trips than short trips, because as I already told you, on the short trips, sorry, on the short trips, I don't need to prepare anything, but on the long trips, I definitely need to do a very good maintenance before the trip to make sure that everything will work for many kilometers that are ahead. And then the last thing that I have to do before the trip, and it's different from short trips, is to sort out all bills, work, if you work somewhere, to see all of your contacts, to say all of your people that you're not going to be here for a long time. Everything that you have to do when you're away, all of this need to be sorted out before you take off for your trip. Otherwise, you might have many problems after that, or you need to stop, interrupt your trip, talk with people, paying bills, or always on the telephone. This is not really pleasure to have while you're on the trip. And then we can go on the next category, which is during the trip. What is different on long trips than short trips during the trip? I always have in mind that the trip will be long. So let me explain what I mean. Every time when I decided to twist a little bit more, or to take an alternative route here and there, I always have in mind that the trip is very long and I cannot afford any mistakes or problems at the moment. So now, for example, during the preparation for South America, I discussed with Plamen one important things. He is very good rider, very skilled rider. He's 4 times enduro champion of Bulgaria, and every time when he see a big hill or place where he can climb with a motorcycle, especially here around Bulgaria, every time when we ride, every time when he sees something, he want to go there with the motorcycle immediately. But before the trip, I discussed this with him. I said, Plamen, listen, now on the long trip, we're gonna have more than enough kilometers, so we cannot really afford to climb every hill that we're gonna see on the road, because in South America, the hills will be everywhere. So please stay on the road, focus on the trip, on every day that we have to cover, the plan that we have. So this will be the only way to complete the trip successfully. We cannot wasting time and resources, because the motorcycles, they've got resources, tires, oils, and everything, and suspension life and everything. So we cannot waste time. We have to focus on the plan. This is the difference. Always have in mind that the trip will be long, and I always try to protect the motorcycle as much as possible. This is the second point that I actually wanted to say. Protect the motorcycle as much as possible, which is mean that don't twist the throttle when it's not necessary. Don't press the brakes so hard when it's not necessary. Don't stress the suspension so much if it's not necessary, because the motorcycle will have so much punishment anyway, especially when you plan to ride in different terrains. Today might be perfect asphalt, but tomorrow potholes, dirt roads, mud, rain, all of that stuff. So the motorcycle will have more than enough punishment, so you don't need to stress it extra. So protect the motorcycle every time. So for example, instead of riding with 120 kilometers per hour, I will slow down to 90 just to protect the engine. Protect the engine, also save tires, save money for petrol, and all of that stuff. Protect the motorcycle as much as possible. Because you have to know that everything wears very fast on long trips. Everything. When I say everything, everything, not only tires, not only oils, not only chain and sprockets, but also your gear. Your gear is where wears so fast and so badly. So, for example, if you have 2-3 days trip, you might not even get some dust on your gear. But on the long trip, you're gonna have everything. You're gonna have rain, dust, mud, maybe snow. All of that stuff will actually ruin your gear very, very fast. And let's now focus on the riding gear. Uh, it doesn't matter what kind of gear you have. It might be the best one that you can afford, 2, 3, 5,000 euros. If you've been on this on a, let's say, 3 or 4 really long trips, you will destroy this gear. It doesn't matter how expensive it is. This is just the way it is. My gear is good. I have one of the best brands. I am lucky to have one of the best brands, Revit. And even so, after 2-3 trips, I can see that the gear start to fall apart. Not because the gear is bad, no, because when the trips are so long and when you're changing so many different riding conditions, the gear actually wears very fast, as I already told you. When you have a cold day, let's say 2-3 degrees or even minus sometimes, and then you have very hot days, 35 or 40 degrees, when you have a lot of rain and a lot of mud, all of this going into your gear, and you cannot really clean it properly or dry it properly and prepare it for the next trip or something like that. It is just not possible. It's not really, at least it is not possible for me. And that's why every time when I come back from the trip, my gear is in terrible condition. Terrible condition. Not because I'm not protecting the gear, because I cannot find even a way to protect the gear. How you can protect yourself when you need to ride all day in the rain? You cannot. The rain is on you. That's fine. The gear is designed to hold the rain and stuff like that, but nothing is designed to hold forever. Also, on the next day, if you go and spend all day in the mud, how you gonna protect your gear from the mud all day? You just cannot. It goes everywhere, and all zips, on all pockets, and everywhere, on corners, all everything. So everything. And the more you do this, the more you wear the gear. It is the same with tools. Some people might have the same set of tools for 2, 3, 5, 10, or 20 years, but it is not the same with my tools, especially if you need to use them. If you need to open your box and take the tools once per day or once per week even, you put them on the ground, maybe some rain on it, some oil on it, you use it here and there, damage it here and there, so they also wear very fast. So I can see on my tools that, especially if they are not really good quality, they wear very fast. I always try to have the best quality that I can afford, but even so, you can see some rust here, rust there. So everything is wear because of these long trips and different riding conditions. The same with tires. Tires, man, if you are able to ride normally on the Sundays with one set of tires for 3-4 years, it's not going to happen on long trips. On my last trip now to South America, we changed four rear tires and 3 front tires. On my trip to Magadan 2 years ago, I changed 3 sets of tires as well. The tires are finished very fast. And once again, depends on that way you ride. If you ride only on the perfect asphalt, it's one story. But when you change the conditions to potholes, then you go to some gravel roads, some very rocky roads, some mud and all of that stuff, all of this destroy the destroy the tires very fast. Chains and sprockets, the same story. All of this sand and dust go into the chain and sprockets and works like an abrasive and actually finished everything. So all of this is finished very, very fast and very differently on the long trips than short trips. Because on the short trip, you can afford, let's say, ride 200-300 kilometers today, wash the motorcycle, clean the chain, maybe lube it after that. And on the long trips, you're not going to have this time and option every single day. You might do it 2-3 days, once per 2-3 days, depends on the conditions. So if it rains all the time, it is even pointless to clean the chain or lube the chain in the rain. So all depends on that, what kind of conditions you're going to ride. Oils and filters, the same story. When you ride in very dusty conditions or sanding conditions and mud and rain, all of that, of course, oils and filters are getting dusty and they need to be changed more extremely all the time. So regular maintenance, regular maintenance on the long trips, it's a must. Basically, every time when I hear something or when I feel that something is not right, because when you ride your motorcycle for thousands of kilometers, you already feel how it's supposed to sound or react on many different situations. So even if I feel something very little, I always try to check, because I know that small problems will bring big problems after that. And if you don't change something in advance, or if you don't adjust something in advance, it will be even worse later. It's not gonna go just like that. So regular maintenance is a must. Constant checking as well. As I already told you, I always check everything. So every time when I stopped and I have more time, I always check the oil level, the antifreeze level, the condition of the brake pads, because sometimes they might be just a uh, few millimeters, or they might be damaged. For example, one of my rear brake pads on the trip to Magadan just broke. Not broke. The pads, they have the metal part and a ferrado part, and the ferrado part just fell away. It just was some kind of fabric defect. And I knew that I was supposed to have another maybe 3 or 4 thousand kilometers rear brakes, and suddenly I felt that the rear brake is not stopping well, and I heard this squeezing noise, like stop to check, and it was just one of the brakes was destroyed from some reason, fabric defect, I don't know. So that's why these regular checks are very important, and this is a big difference with the short trips. It might happen on the short trips as well, but it's more likely on the long trips, especially when you have different riding conditions, when you need to ride many hours in the rain. This is actually destroying your brake pads very fast. You should know that in advance. Different riding conditions, cold, hot, rain, dust, sand, mud, all of this destroy everything. Not only your gear, not only your motorcycle, but also your riding modes, if you understand what I mean, riding modes. Uh, you need to be on focus all the time. As I already told you in the beginning, the situation with Plamen, when I told him that we have to be focused and to have these strict rides, because if you're not on focus, you might lose control. If you're not strict, if you're not strict and stick to the plan that you have, you're not gonna finish your trip. So you have to be focused, because the problems are everywhere, especially if you're changing the terrain all the time. If you ride all day in perfect sunny conditions, you get used to it. On every corner, you know how much you can tilt the motorcycle, or how much you can twist the throttle, how fast you can stop. But suddenly everything changed to very cold area. Everything changed. When the asphalt is cold, everything is different. Or in a very strong rain, you cannot tilt anymore that much. You have to have in mind that it's raining. So all of this requires to be on focus all the time, especially if you're changing the condition from asphalt to dirt roads or muddy roads or stuff like that. All of this, as I said, requires to be on focus all the time and to be very strict with your rides, because if you're not strict, you're not going to finish the trip, never ever. So, for example, on our trip to South America, if we split the total mileage that we've got, this 32,000 kilometers, to 2.5 months, it looks like we've done. It's not like it looks like, it is actually a fact that we rode more than 500 kilometers every single day. Keep in mind that many of the days we were not riding, and many of the days we have less kilometers, which is mean that in many of the days we have more than 800 kilometers, just to have this average mileage. So if you're not strict, if you're not focused, you will never make it. So these are big differences. And now I'll tell you what is my opinion on the things that might go wrong, because this is probably the worst part of any trip. And especially on long trips, it's very easy the things to go wrong. And the biggest problem is human behavior is the biggest problem, especially when you ride in groups. If you're alone, it's okay. You might still have some problems, mental problems, depends on that how strong mentally you are. But when you're in the group, many problems might occur because of other people. First, that it's very fast noticeable is the riding style. Some people ride too fast, some people ride too slow. And this is a big problem when you're riding in a big group and when you plan a really long trip. So it's a problem. They start to argue each other. You're riding too fast, you're riding too slow. It's a problem. Ride a little bit fast, ride a little bit slow. It's a big problem. That's why it's good when you have a group. If you cannot ride alone, or if you don't want to ride alone, if you are in a group, make sure that everybody in the group understand the idea of the trip, and agree in advance about the speed that you're gonna hold all the time and all of that. Let's say you plan to ride with 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, stop every 2 hours, fill the petrol tank every 200 kilometers or something like that. Just agree in advance. But even if you agree all of this, when you're on a long trip, man, the people are changed. They change their mind all the time. Then the next big problem on the long trips is budget differences. Again, if you ride in the group, or even if you're two people, if one of these people have a lot of money and the second has not so much money, it's a problem, because when you're on the long trips, first you'll agree, okay, we're gonna sleep in cheap hotels, and then first week everything is okay, you sleep in cheap hotels. But the second week you already get a little bit tired, especially if you have some long or problematic days. Then you might be really tired, and finally you find a hotel that is not cheap, but it's in front of you. And because you're tired, one of the people, especially a person with the biggest budget, may say, okay, let's go to this hotel, I'm even happy to pay for it. But the second person who hasn't got the money, and also when he's a proud person, cannot just accept donation from this person. They will say, no, 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 we agree to ride every 2 hours. We're going to have another 2 hours to the next hotel. And this is how arguments start. I will pay. No, you're not going to pay. We agree for cheap hotels. Yeah, it's not a problem. It's only 20 euros. Yeah, I cannot afford 20 euros. I have 10 and stuff like that. And all of this is might be converted even to a fist fight just for stupid things like this. And that's why the budget is it's a big problem. And I will advise, if you ever plan to ride with someone, make sure that he has the same budget as you, and he understands the value of the money the same way you understand it. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of problems on the road. The next big problem is morning routine. For every person is different. I don't have a problem to wake up at 5 o'clock, and 5:20 or 5:30 I'll be already on the road. But not everyone is like me. So I don't drink coffee, I don't smoke cigarettes. If I need to go to the toilet, I'll do it faster. But some people have this morning routine. They prefer to wake up whatever they wake up. They want to have their coffee with 3, 4 cigarettes. Then they need 30 minutes in the toilet. Then they need 30 minutes breakfast. And this is a big problem when you're on a group, when you're on a long trip, when you need to cover so many kilometers. You know that you have to cover so many kilometers, but someone is slowing you down. It's a big problem. I have this problem. I had these problems in advance. I was riding in few groups a few times. That's why I finished riding alone. Now on my trip to South America, I was with Plamen, but Plamen is like soldier. I don't need to tell him anything. He's like me. He does not drink coffee. He does not smoke cigarettes. When we say 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock is 5 o'clock. That's it. But it is very difficult to have such a riding partner. And even if you have it, he might change on some stage. Luckily, Plamen does not change. I hope that I also did not change for him. But we finished the trip successfully, and we're still good friends. And we might even have another trip, which is mean that we did it all right. But this is a big problem for some people. The next big problem is endurance. Not everyone is able to ride, let's say, 5, 6, or 800 kilometers every single day. So this might be a problem on the long trips. Even if you are alone, if you plan in advance, if you plan wrongly, if you plan 500 kilometers every single day, but then in the middle of the trip you realize that you just cannot handle it because it's just too much, this is a big problem. If you're in a group, it's even bigger, because if one of the people from the group cannot hold these kilometers, he will slow the whole group, and everyone will be very angry and not happy with the situation. And as I said, all of this is happening usually when the trip is long. So 2, 3 days or even a week, people will make compromises. They will say, okay, that's fine, we'll wait for him, it's not that bad. But on the next week or the week after that, or next month, when the when people already start to accumulate some fatigue, when they get more than enough from this person, and when especially when something is going not exactly as they planned, when you have a shitty day, when you have a raining day or cold day or stuff like that, and someone slowing you down so much, of course everyone will be angry. And as I said, they will make compromises in the first week, on the second not so much, on the third will be already a problem, on the fourth, man, they will fight already. This is the situation, this is the human behavior. It's always like that, it's always like that. Believe me, I have seen it a number of times, and I know what it is. So the next one is, I already mentioned it, partly is this accumulated fatigue. At the beginning it's all right, everyone is will accept some compromises and stuff like that, but with the days, with the weeks, with the months, when all of this is getting more and more and more, this accumulation effect, it's very, very, very dangerous. The next one is loneliness. I don't have such a problem. I feel good alone. I feel good with people. I don't mind people or alone. I am always good. I can adjust myself to stay with people. I can adjust myself to stay alone. But on the long trips, some people are different. Even though some people might be very nice, very friendly, and very, how I exactly just say, wonderful people for the first week, on the second week, on the third week, they may change completely. Many reasons: problems at home, problems with money, or they miss their family, they miss their kids, or whatever, but they might change. They might feel depressed because motorcycle trips are not exactly what everyone thinks they are. Everyone see only the beautiful parts and all of this adventure and stuff here and there, beautiful views, beautiful people, beautiful rides and stuff like that. But it's not only this. There are miserable days, there are cold days, rainy days, shitty days, problems with people, problems, so many problems with the motorcycle, and all of this is part of the motorcycle trip. But when you have this mental problems, or when you feel lonely, when you miss your family, when you have a problem at home, the more you travel, the worse it's going to be, and all of this will be on your shoulders. If you're alone, it's fine, but if you have a company, it's a big problem. If you are alone, again, might be a problem if you're not mentally strong, if you don't know this in advance, if you're not ready to accept all of this, might be a big problem. As I already said, some people missing home, some friends, family, kids, whatever, but this might be a big problem. Basically, on the long trips, everyone show his or her worst sides, especially when the things go wrong. Exactly what I said before. When everything is fine, when the trip is going exactly as you planned it, day by day, every day is nice, the ride is nice, the weather is nice, everyone is happy. But when some things go wrong, let's say problem, crash accident, or problems with the weather, or problems with the routes, whatever, then everyone will show his or her worst side. Unfortunately, this is the situation, at least from my experience. You might be lucky and see some really nice reaction from people who expose their best sides in these situations, but I can guarantee that on the long trips it's not going to be like that. At least this is what I had in my trips. So that's why I finished riding alone, and in my opinion, this is the best option, especially on very long trips. If you plan something that is longer than a month, I will definitely suggest to try and do it alone. Especially if you plan something more than 6 months, then I have absolutely no doubt, go alone. You don't need anyone with you, because this is a lot of time, and you have to make a lot of compromises and sacrifice a lot of things if you plan to go with someone. If this someone is your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, might be different story, but even though it's very, very risky. So my advice is just to go alone. So that is everything, guys, that I planned to say on this topic. I'm sure that you'll have a lot of things to add here as information, or if you have any questions or anything else, please feel free to say it. FF Rado, hi Pavel, I'm a just beginner thinking this year I go a few longer trips, how to handle better over longer driving hours and noise, get a Schubert and use the plugs, but doesn't help for a long time. FF Radu, what I have to say, find the best helmet that you can afford, and how to handle all of these long hours. You have to ride as much as possible, and you will learn how to handle it. Nothing more I can say in this moment. The more you ride, the easier it's going to be. It doesn't matter how expensive will be your helmet, you'll still want to remove it on some stage. So Tenere traveler, make a list of what you need and will be the same for all the trips. Occasionally add something. I need to subject something I never use. Your preparation time will be shorter and easier. Yes, it is good to have a list, and also good to see what exactly you need, or to explore the list once again once you come back home. So you will realize that some of the things you never needed, or some of the things you already missed. So it's good to have it on the next trip. Touring up High Pavilion between long trips. Do you like riding day trips, let's say via off-road section, to train skills and endurance? Yes, I do. I do it every single day. The place I live is 20 kilometers away from Varna, and I have a shortcut here from here to the town, going through the forest. And I enjoy this trip almost every time when I have the chance, when it's not so muddy. And it's also, first, it's short. Second, it's a pleasure, and third is I can train my skills and endurance on this type of terrains. It's a good option, and I always do it, and I recommend to everyone to do it, because on long trips you don't know what kind of terrain you're gonna face. No worries, Rado, my pleasure. Marv 968, hello Pavlin, sorry I missed the start of this live stream. How many weeks does it take for a trip become a long trip? I already said that I consider, let's say, 1 week short trip, and everything above 1 week is long trip. So it's different for everyone, but 1 week is something that I can consider short. After 1 week, it's already not short. 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever weeks. So this is what I said, but it doesn't mean that it's some kind of model. No, this is what I have in mind. Tenere traveler, plan mileage you're happy with, and someone else idea what is good for you. The trip is not. I agree. Plan the mileage that the mileage that you're happy with, because if someone do the route planning for you, it might be too much or too little. That's why the mileage need to be planned from you and exactly for you, not what people think about it. Good point. Thanks for adding, Richard. Mileage is a big deal, and you don't need to be in situation when you cannot handle it. For example, a few years ago, I think it was in 2017, on the way to Mongolia, because I had only 30 days visa, I was forced to ride for 1 week or 8 days, 1,000 kilometers every single day in one direction, and the same on the way back, 1,000 kilometers every single day in Russia, without highways, with a lot of traffic. And man, this was bad. After that, for a few more years, I didn't want even to see Russia again, because of poor planning, because of not available time to ride slow. 2 years ago, when I went to Magadan, even though I rode many more kilometers in Russia, it was absolutely fine, because I have more time. And I really enjoyed Russia, and will go there again with pleasure. So mileage planning is very important thing. And yeah, even now in South America, even though we've got like 500 kilometers per day, it was fine for me. It was fine for Plamen, but it might be different for someone else. So we didn't have a problem with that. But as I said, it might be different for everyone. Now, to the question of who was here asking about CF Moto. Let me see. Rodrigo Mosak. What I think about it, Rodrigo. It looks like a small Tenere. I like how it looks like, because it looks like a Tenere. It looks like a copy of the Tenere, a little bit smaller. The idea is good. They basically copy almost everything from the Tenere. It's not that heavy, 180 kilograms or something like that, which is good. But the engine is only 450 cc, and how reliable it is, I don't know. So what I think about it, I think that many people will like it and love it, and many people bought it already, include 2 of my friends here in Varna. and I'm waiting for their long-term opinion. Unfortunately, both of them hasn't got so many kilometers. The one has like 11,000 kilometers. The second is with only 300 kilometers, so they cannot really tell me much about the motorcycle. I haven't ridden it yet. I will on some stage, but not yet. So I cannot really tell you anything about it. Rodrigo Mossack, I'm considering the CF Moto 450. The Tenere 7 here in Brazil is coming as 11,000 US dollars. 11,000 US dollars, it's not a bad price. It's the same here in Europe, a little bit more. If you're not long, if you don't have the right height, I will advise to go to CF Moto. How high? What is your height, Rodrigo? How tall you are? 185. You're the same like me. So you'll be perfectly fine with the Tenere 700. With the CF Moto 450, you might have a problem while you ride it. You have to bend your knees too much. It's short motorcycle, and you don't have any possibilities to lift it. And how heavy you are. ...105 kilograms, like me. Go for the Tenere if you have the money. CF Moto is not going to be for you. It's going to be too weak suspension for you. Suspension is only 41 millimeters. Tenere is with 43. And it has, on theory, a longer suspension travel, 220 millimeters. But when a person like you sit on it, you'll compress it so much that you'll be left with nothing. So suspension will be terrible for you. You definitely need to upgrade it. The motorcycle will be too short for you. You definitely need to do something, maybe bar risers or lower the pegs, I don't know. And if you compare reliability of the CF Moto, it is still unknown, but reliability on the Tenere is already proven. If you have the money for Tenere, I understand that will be more than CF Moto, but it's my opinion, just pay more and get the Tenere. No worries, glad to help. Marv 968, I guess on long trips availability of parts of the CF Moto might be an issue. Depends on the destination. It might be an issue to the Tenere. Depends on the destination. CF Moto, now they got a big chain of dealers almost everywhere, but we still don't know will it be reliable or not. So it doesn't matter how many parts you have if you break every single day, if you understand what I mean, or how problematic are the parts if you never break. Tenere traveler, be prepared to change the plan if the route is or mileage, etc. is too much. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. It's the sensible way to go. Absolutely agree with this, Richard. If it's necessary, change the plan on time. You don't need to beat yourself to death to understand that everything was wrong. Improvisation is one of the best skills that you're gonna need it. That's why I even say it here in my talk. Improvisation is probably one of the most important skills that you're gonna need on the long trips. Also communication, to be able to communicate with people, to adapt, as you say, to overcome, to improvise. These are the most important skills on long trips, not the riding. Riding is riding, everyone will ride, but the many different things are. Now, for example, my trip to South America, the reason I agreed to go with someone like Plummet, because I know him very well. I know that he will never give up. I know that he will never complain, never do anything that will make me angry. I know that he's a soldier. That's why I agreed to go with him, because he has mechanical skills, improvisation skills. He can handle everything. He can ride. He can eat whatever we have at the moment. I know this very well. That's why I agreed to go with him. But it's not the same with every person. All right, guys, any more questions? If you don't have, I'm going to give you 5 more minutes, and then we're going to end the stream here. If you have any idea about the stream next week, please let me know now or later in the comments or in the community tab, and I'll prepare something. FF Rado, Pavel, did you ever tested 2024 Transalp and stock settings? I never tried something else. And first bike, just your opinion. No, I never tried. I seen it. A friend of mine bought it in Romania. I've seen the motorcycle, went around, sat on it, never ridden it. It's not my type of motorcycle. It looks more like a big scooter to me, but they say that it has a wonderful engine. Never tried. Suspension is definitely weak for my size and my weight, but this is absolutely normal. The tenere suspension also was weak before I upgraded. Tenere travel, maybe try a short trip with someone you plan to go with before going on a long trip together. This is a good advice, Richard, but this also might not work properly because, as I already said, on the short trips, people react differently and they behave differently. But on the long trips, because of many circumstances that I already told you, people change. I had this experience before with people on short trips. They are fantastic. And then on the long trips, man, disaster. Ricardo Tavares, have you used via Michelin for preparation? Michelin? Have you used via Michelin for preparation? What do you mean? I really don't understand what you mean, Ricardo. If you can be a little bit more specific. Have you used via Michelin for preparation? I don't understand the question. Sorry, Ricardo. Tenere Traveler, next week maybe discuss fly here versus taking your own bike. Yeah, it's a good fly higher versus taking your own bike. Yeah, this is a good topic. Richard, let me copy this and we can discuss it next week. Thank you very much for adding, Richard. This is a good topic that might help to many people to save money. Thank you very much. It's like Google Maps. No, never tried, Ricardo. I use Google Maps for preparation, for checking the routes and stuff like that. But states the estimated costs. No, I never tried. I'm gonna see it definitely, Michelin for preparation. Yeah, it's a good option to have estimated cost, even though they might vary. That's why they are estimated. I'll try this Michelin via Michelin. I'll try it. Never seen it before. Usually, I prepare everything by using Google Maps and paper maps. I have my paper maps open. When I routing around, I am checking the Google Maps for exact kilometers, so I can make some calculation. I even make notes on the map. Let's say from here to here, I have 500 kilometers, and from here to here, I have 200. And when I have the map, it's easy for me to see it. And I like this visualization in my head with the paper maps. But I use Google Maps just to give me the exact kilometers between places. Ricardo, and about daily checks on the moto, what do you do? Basic things. Usually later in the evening when I stop riding, first thing that I do is to lube the chain. Just check the tension of the chain and lube it, and then checking the level of the antifreeze and the oil. On my Tenere is very easy. I just need to stay like this on the side, shake a motorcycle a little bit, and I can see the level of the antifreeze. And then if I go low, I can see the level of the oil. These are the things that I do all the time. Also checking the brake pads, front and rear, suspension visually for leaks, and that's everything that I do almost every single day. Nothing more like this, unless I felt something different while I ride. But basically, these are what I do. Marv 968. If you have the time spare on long trip, what do you think is the right amount of rest days in a week? I don't plan rest days, Marv 968. I don't have to. I don't feel tired when I ride, but the reason I don't plan rest days because they come by itself. Sometimes, for example, I see a very beautiful town and I decided to stay 2 days there just to explore it properly. And it comes like a rest day. That's why I never plan rest days in advance. But it's a good option to have it at least once per week. I never plan it. Sometimes I ride 2-3 weeks without any rest day. But the reasons I already told you, because they will come by itself. But it's good to have at least one day off per week. if you can afford it, of course. Ricardo Tavares, thanks. I have a CRF 1100, and that's easy to check too. Good, good. So this is a basic checks that I do. And of course, if you have any problems, you can make a little bit more seriously. Once per 2-3 weeks, I am checking also the wheel bearings on the front wheel and rear wheel. If they have any movements, just to have this in advance. If I have to find it somewhere, the spare bearings, just to have this in advance. But this is once per week or once per 2 weeks. And if I feel something different on the road, there will be more. All right, guys, more questions? We have 1 hour already. I think that this is enough. It's Sunday evening. I will give you time to spend with your family. Thank you very much for coming, guys. Thank you very much for watching my videos. Tomorrow on the main channel, I'll have one very provocative video. I hope that it will be useful to many of you. Watch it if you have time. And see you next week. We'll probably discuss fly higher versus taking your own bike, what Richard suggested. And we're going to discuss this topic. Thank you once again for coming, and see you next week. Ciao.